Why? I want to know why. I ask you, Mr. Wazir, why? Kyun?
I feel the love. I feel the love. You know, some people say it, but you know कि ऐसे बोलने के लिए बोल रहे हैं. Here I feel it. I genuinely feel it. I know I'm special in this office.
Had to be the most special film, no? So I have always looked forward to this. कि मैं कब जाऊँगा ऑफिस और एक ऐसे टेबल होगा, हमारी फोटो छपेगी फ्रंट पेज पे. I must tell you, like I was telling the gentleman outside, that Box Office India comes every time. There is a designated place in my living room where I can find it. First it used to be somewhere in the TV room, in this room, that room. But now it has a special place. In the red sofa area, you will find it on the table in that corner in case you may want it. So I take Box Office India and open the lovely plastic. And then I go back to front. Not front to back. I always read, अच्छा ये सब समझ में आ रहा है, सब समझ में आ रहा है, सब समझ में आ रहा है. जो मैं इन बातों में कच्चा हूँ ना, numbers. So first I try and pretend as if I'm understanding everything. Collections, फिर who's doing what.
Just call me when the interview starts.
Then भाई कह रहा है कि क्या चल रहा है, किसका dubbing, किसका shooting, किधर क्या चल रहा है. फिर पता चलता है. Then you get into the features and all. Which, like I was saying, is always not me. But these days in my house, the latest one is there. Not the latest one, इसके एक पहले शायद. उसके cover पे लिखा है ना, Unstoppable Force. भाई तो आते जाते वही दिखता है मुझे, याद दिलाते रहता है. याद रख 18 दिसंबर. There's Mr. Khan on the cover with a gun in his hand pointing towards, and it says Unstoppable Force. Yes sir, film number 8, definitely bigger in terms of scale, mounting, budget, at every level, even in terms of the universality of the story itself, you know, at a commercial level, at a even a creative level, the biggest film, you know, it's the first one that perhaps on a creative level goes to that level of spirituality, and you know, it's there for everyone to see the kind of scale that one can see in the trailer. It's no secret that it has one of the fattest budgets of any Hindi film. So yeah, definitely a big deal for me that at this stage in my career that I'm doing one of the biggest films. And credit to Mr. Bhansali for backing me. At the time of Ram Leela, it was a big film for me to do. Lutera had not even released when he signed me on as the lead for that film. And you know, for this film to come to me at this stage, you could say in a way it's come to me before time, वक्त से पहले, you know, because only a few guys, as we all know and are aware, warrant this kind of budget. But Mr. Bhansali's backed me and my ability, and he's was very confident that I'd be able to deliver after having seen my work in Ram Leela. So I'm grateful to him, and hopefully I've done the best job, and hopefully this film won't be just a step forward for me, it will be a leap forward. 15 years. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's had a journey, this story. Every time Mr. Bhansali wanted to make a film, it was actually he wanted to make Bajirao Mastani. He ended up making something else. I think it waited for Deepika. For sure. You know, one is very aware of the value that she adds to any project. We were well aware of it at the time of Ram Leela, and are now as well. So thank you, Deepika, one of the biggest reasons that Bajirao Mastani finally got me.
It's actually different in every way. It's different in terms of the character that I'm playing. It's different in terms of the kind of film that it is. It's different because it's a period film. It's different because of the hunger and Sanjay sir's vision. So it's different at every level. Definitely the most challenging film in an actor's career so far, and very draining, very draining. Days when you feel like just giving up, you know, days where you're just so exhausted that You just don't want to do it anymore. That's how exhausting it's been. Of course, when you see the trailer, everyone got goosebumps, and so emotionally overwhelmed, where you feel like all that hard work and energy that you've put into making the movie comes back to you on that day when people are sitting and clapping and they want to see it one more time. It kind of all comes back, all the fights, all the disagreements, all the crying, it all kind of comes back, and you start choking because you're so overwhelmed by what you eventually see. And everything that you have probably thought of while you're shooting, which is, I don't want to do this film, or I want to give up, or I'm never going to work with him again. Any of these thoughts that might come to your mind is suddenly gone, and you're like recharged and ready to work with him again because you're so overwhelmed by what you've seen on screen.
But literally, blood, sweat and tears. खून भी निकला, पसीने भी छूट गए, tears also. There's literally blood, sweat and tears of so many people that have gone into this. Broken bones. क्या नहीं किया यार.
250 days.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like that. It was so. It's a process that's so immersive, so consuming. You get there's nothing else happening in life. 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning, doing some kind of training, whether it's bow and arrow, whether it's sword, whether it's horse riding. Then 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. you do our shooting. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. you have to train again, because you have to maximize. Your scene is coming in which you have to use the sword, and you only have your shooting also at the same time. So training and shooting at the same time, it is all consuming. And even those 12 hours on set with Mr. Bhansali and the way he is, his creativity keeps evolving. He'll keep improvising the scene and designing it differently and changing things, changing lines, so you have to keep up with him, which means you have to stay switched on and on your toes. So between shots you're learning lines, or you're doing something, or you're contributing with some kind of input, because he's very collaborative. So he's asking you questions, he's asking you to, so it's not like off camera while the shot is being set up for 4 hours, because each frame is so painstaking. It's not like you're sitting on your phone on the side, or talking business or anything. You're fully immersed in those 12 hours. You're all about that. So yeah, life in the past year, every other aspect of life other than the shooting of this film has taken a backseat, but with good reason. I mean, look at the trailer. I was blown away myself when I saw it on the big screen. We experienced it with the media.
More than the 200 or 250 days of shooting, it's the fear of how much can you give. Because it's so consuming that after a point there's always that fear of exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, mental exhaustion, where you feel like if you have to submit and give so much every day to every scene over a period of 1.5 years, will you be able to give? And he's not someone who will be satisfied. I mean, not forget satisfied. Like on this, nothing is like upar se chalta hai attitude. It's completely more than a 100%.
Some of the scenes, some of the emotionally charged scenes, it was very daunting to hear those scenes even at a narration level. Immediately you're like, oh my god, how am I going to approach this scene? Because there are junctures in this person's life, this character's life, that are really, really difficult. How you don't know how it's going to be. How do I have that conversation with my mother? What will I be like if I'm put in this situation? Those junctures in one's life, which are, I mean, it was very daunting. There's the climax. I thought about it for 1 year. It would give me sleepless nights. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? How am I going to keep asking Bhansali questions? And he'd be like, "You'll do it.